Hope you're doing well on this Tuesday morning. I guess Biden, I totally missed this part of the story on Biden. And so apparently he had a find people on both sides moment. We all remember the discussion regarding Donald Trump and how they say that the former president way back when said that there were fine people on both sides. Remember that whole thing after Charlottesville? Well, apparently Biden, and let me Google it real quick. Here it is. So apparently Biden, and I can't find the audio, doggone it, and I wish I could. But here's what the president apparently said to reporters yesterday. I condemn the anti-Semitic protests, Biden tells reporters. I also condemn those who don't understand what is going on with the Palestinians. Isn't that a find people on both sides moment if I've ever heard one? Clearly it is. Let me help you, President Biden. Oh, I wish I had this audio. But let me help clear this up for you, President Biden. People actually do understand what's going on with the Palestinians. They actually do. So the Palestinians, by and large, support Hamas. Hamas attacked Israel, killed the 1,200 people, murdered them, slaughtered them. The horrific episode. It's a terror attack. Israel went in, and they're now trying to destroy the group that killed 1,200 of their people. That's what's going on. The people of Palestine, the folks that live there in the Gaza Strip and so forth, they have the the misfortune of being utilized as human shields. And Hamas, all of their tunnels are underneath the Gaza Strip. And so that is another situation where the Israelis, unfortunately, have to do what they have to do. People understand too well what is going on with the Palestinians, I would say to Joe Biden. They really do. Now, if you're on the pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian side, like a lot of these idiotic college students and so forth, these activists on the left, I mean, it is their opinion that Israel has absolutely no right to defend itself. They believe that Hamas and Hezbollah and all of these other folks should just be able to kill as many Jews as they want. And who cares? Because, right, they're only Jewish people. They're only Israelis. Their lives don't matter, according to the people who are living in encampments on colleges across the country. So I would say to Joe Biden, yeah, people actually, they do understand what is going on with the Palestinians and the Hamas supporters here in America as well. I mean, I like the fact that the president has condemned the anti-Semitic protests. I mean, that's awfully nice, but he's equivocating. He's hedging. And by the way, I would also point out, I know that you folks want me to, perhaps point this out, so I will very briefly. Biden does bear some responsibility for what happened to Israel because he was the one that allowed Iran to get millions or billions of dollars in lifted sanctions, waivers, and so forth. That allows Iran to give money to Hamas and Hezbollah, and that allows them to go and attack Israel. So Biden has some culpability in all of this as well, but it does. It sounds like he is saying there are very fine people on both sides. This is Biden's moment, and apparently he is getting absolutely crushed on all of this. I didn't know about this story. You know why? Because I got CNN on the TV here in the on-air studio. And CNN isn't covering that or really anything going on with Israel or the massive arrest that we've seen over the last 24 to 48 hours. And they're focused on, of course, Donald Trump's hush money case. So they wouldn't cover that story. And it's not real surprising. By the way, the headline on Fox News is very quickly at 8:11 on Super Talk 99.7. The headline on Fox News, you've got 166 people that have been arrested after all of this insanity that is going on across America with all of these college campuses just devolved into chaos. You know what is insane? Because we have like an entire, I'm not going to say it's the entire generation of young people, but there is young adults, but there is a certain segment of our population that they simply don't know how to behave or to handle adversity or differing opinions. And so we've seen that on college campuses really ring true. Because remember what happened to Riley Gaines? I told you about this. With Riley Gaines, where she went to was it San Francisco? She was up in the Bay Area. She was at some school, some college, and she was there to speak. And she had to hide in a back classroom for like hours because you had all of these, trans folks, these trans supporters and all these like people, and they were threatening her and they wouldn't let her out and they had to call security, and even security didn't know what to do with these people. And we're seeing the same kind of abhorrent behavior as it relates to what is going on in Israel. I mean, that is what's going on. This was in New York, Columbia University. Hundreds of masked Gaza-supporting protesters are walking towards the New York City police headquarters. And they're angry because the New York City police went into the encampment there and they destroyed it. They told them to get out, and they pulled down the tents, and they apparently, made some arrests. One guy, by the way, is carrying a flare. And a lot of these people, they have the masks up, all the way up over to their forehead. It's just so dumb. But this was hours after cops ripped through a Gaza solidarity camp at NYU, and they ended up arresting some 166 or so students, faculty, and staff after they took over the school for several days. And this was going on at Columbia, NYU, Yale, other schools as well. They say that some protesters could be heard chanting, "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free," a slogan that, of course, many regard as a call to genocide. And memo to Fox News, the reason why so many people regard this as a call to genocide, it's because it is. This describes, again, "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free." That describes the area between the Jordan River and the Mediterranean Sea. And Israel is right there. And it means basically the erasure of Israel, which also means the death of all the people that inhabit Israel, the Jewish folks. And so all of this is going on yesterday. All of this is happening. And Biden seems as confused as ever. He was out with, of all people, AOC. And she made mention of the peaceful protests going on at Columbia University.
It is especially important that we remember the power of young people shaping this country today, of all days, as we once again witness the leadership of those peaceful student-led protests on campuses like Columbia, Yale, Berkeley, and many others.
All right, so I guess my question would be, where exactly were these peaceful protests? Where exactly were they? Because what I know is that we have a whole bunch of folks that are Jewish, and they are the ones that are actually being victimized. Remember, I played this audio for you yesterday.
A pro-Hamas mob started chasing us, calling us in the middle of campus, calling us inbred, that we have no culture.
Peaceful.
One of them grabbed my friend's Israeli flag in the middle of campus. They threw hard objects at him.
Peaceful.
They started harassing him. They tried to light his flag on fire.
Peaceful.
And an angry mob of pro-Hamas students chased us off of campus, screaming, "We don't want no Zionists here, get out of here."
Peaceful.
This has now gotten into physical safety. I no longer feel physically safe on my campus.
Peaceful.
Yeah, there's a couple of, Jewish students from from Columbia University, and they were on Fox News. And that was one of several bites. Those were several sound bites that I played where they're just describing what their reality is. And so I appreciate, the president saying, well, I condone, these protests. But, people like him, they don't understand what's really going on in Palestine with the Palestinians. Yeah, they do, actually. He knows all too well. And you know what he also knows? That he doesn't feel safe on a college campus where he is paying $66,000 to $75,000 to go to that school. 0887. Dan, I remember when not many liked the tear gas dogs and nightsticks back in the 1960s, but it did take care of the problem. Yeah, they're talking about bringing in the National Guard because you know what's happening? I think what's happening is they're clearing out these encampments and then they just put them right back up. So I think that is also part of the issue. And I did say it on in one of the previous hours. I don't know if it was the 6 or the 7 o'clock hour, but you have some professional agitators, I believe, that are putting up, helping set up these and organizing, community organizers, kind of like Obama. And they're organizing these encampments on these college campuses. And you know, what I would say to these folks is, you know, if you really care about the people of Gaza, well, clearly your college education is doing you absolutely no good. So if you're there on scholarship, then tell the school or tell your parents who are paying for your tuition to send all that money to the Gaza Strip. Send that to the Palestinians who you seem to be so caring for. Send it to them. If you care about them so much, I mean, the easy thing to say is, go live in the Gaza Strip. No, I would just say, because that's too easy. I would say that if you care so much, send your money to the folks in the Gaza Strip. That's what you should do. Kenny says water cannons. Yeah. You know what? Tom's got a great point because a lot of these campuses, they now have, they're now doing virtual schools, virtual classes. And that's clearly not as good as being in the classroom. And Tom says they should begin asking for refunds. That makes a lot of sense. By the way, I do know, and I did say this earlier as proof, that I know that if they actually did send their tuition money to the people out there in the Gaza Strip, that money would ultimately go to Hamas, or the money used to buy supplies, those supplies would go to Hamas. I do understand that. I've been covering that obviously extensively for a long time. Josh says, one guy says, Kenny said water cannons. Josh says, just use regular cannons. I do not condone any acts of violence against protesters. I'm just telling you. Okay. 0929, deer urine and bear spray. Deer urine and bear spray. Deer urine? Do they do that now, these guys? Do they do deer urine?
Well, when they're out hunting, yes.
Yeah. Wow. Phil says cow manure spreaders. Good Lord, people. 9860, not water cannons, flamethrowers. Things are escalating quickly on the super text line.
You might say it's in fuego.
And fuego. Well, if you bring out those flamethrowers, it's going to be a lot of in fuego going on. 1394 says, Ken, do you know the answer to this? Hundreds arrested in the protest. How many were charged?
Don't know.
Fox News didn't have that part of the story. So there you go. All right. 821, Nashville's Morning News. Yeah, I don't condone any violence. I don't want any violence to happen to any folks.